This is an exciting, incredible interview with a spiritual multi-millionaire. This is Dr. Obom in the house. Dr. O, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Luke. I feel like I'm ready to walk in the sky with Luke Skywalker himself, aka Luke Scott. How are you, my brother?
I am awesome. And Dr. O has got his CEO of Manifestation, Fasana Patel, amazing spiritual master, is gracing us with her presence too, to balance the masculine, feminine, the yin and the yang. How are you doing, Fasana?
Hello, everyone. She's definitely my spiritual master and teacher, or I should say mastress and teacher over here, right? So
yeah. Is master specific to a man? So would you be a spiritual mistress? What does that even?
Mastress.
Mastress. Yeah.
Right, yeah. If the word is not yet in Oxford, we're putting it in today.
Okay, amazing. So I launched something really interesting. I just put it out there on my social media. I said, what questions would you want to ask a spiritual multi-millionaire? And we got so many people, Dr. Obom, who have questions for you. So some of them are nice and gentle, and some of them are quite intense. So I just want to prepare you for that, and I would love to invite you and Fasana to just really share, just be really real with everybody. And for those of you who don't know yet, we are flying over Dr. Obom and Fasana and some of our friends as well from America, Canada, Italy, all over the world to London for a 2-day event on the 24th and 25th of January, which is called the Outcomes and Breakthroughs Mastermind, which is going to be incredible. So if you're interested in that, free up 24th and 25th of January in your diary, comment below, say, I want a ticket, and we will send you all the details. And we are now just going to go real into this, see what comes out. I haven't pre-read the questions or put them in an order, so we're just going to trust flow. How do we feel about trusting flow?
Perfect. The energy and the universe releases and gives what it wants, so we have no other reason but to go with the flow, right? Go with it. That's how it rolls.
Okay, beautiful. Right, first question says, ask how he feels about donating all his multi-millions to a spiritual cause that would change millions of people's lives.
How do I feel about donating all of my earnings to a spiritual cause that would change millions of people's lives? But it's crazy. So in that question, the answer that the person is probably looking for would say, I'm going to donate all my money to whichever cause. The truth is, I'm in that space, and that this cause I'm actually working right now is the one that I'm doing myself. I'm more of a doer in the spirit, because following the word as a Christian entrepreneur or business owner myself, it says, not from the sweat of your brow, meaning not just hard work, that you're going to live or eat bread, which means, and also it says in the Bible, that man should not live from bread alone, but from the words that come out of his mouth and from the sweat of his brow, meaning that you have to speak and give life and then go to work and make it happen. So what I'm doing with the Outcomes and Breakthrough Mastermind right now, that's the cause I'm putting a lot of my time, a lot of my money, and go into to do it. But the question itself, directly to answer it like a yes or a no, the yes would be for whatever that cause is. Obviously, I'd have to find the person, the cause, what they're really truly doing. It is part of my strategy, because no one came here on earth to leave alive, to be able to put a portion of that to the cause, to carry it on. On a logical side to that, I would say no, because I wouldn't do all, I would do a very large portion. My exit strategy was 90% and a very large 10% to help, my family, and so carry on. Because I cannot at the same time be financially irresponsible to those that I love the most here on planet Earth. Given to me, my daughter Miracle, my wife Anna, my other 2 beautiful daughters, and son that we will have in the next 5 years. There is legacy, right? So I have to make sure that I responsibly take care of that. So A very large portion, yes. The total, no. It just doesn't make sense to do that.
It's really, really,
but I do understand where it's coming from.
really interesting what you said there about the 90% thing, because one of my greatest mentors is called Wayne Dyer, and he wrote 44 books, and he's one of the most successful spiritual teachers that there has been in recent times. And he donated 90% of his income as well. And he said he got to a certain level where he realized the faster he gave it away, the faster people wanted to give him more. And it just like, he couldn't literally give it away fast enough. And I love that, because I really believe when you give love out to people, you get it back tenfold, right? Whatever you give out comes back to you. So I love that answer. Beautiful.
And before you ask the next question, I'm going to give you a bonus in case anyone is wondering what, my take is. The Bible says 10%, right? You give 10%. I give 5% financially and 5% of my time, right? Those are my gifts. My time is more valuable than my income, but giving the 5% that's equivalent to the current income and the current time, that's my 10%.
Nice. Nice. And the next question can be for both of you. It says, what gift would you want for your birthday?
Ooh. Well, I'll go with mine, because this is the birthday gift my wife and I have been giving each other for the last 8-9 years. The only reason for this is Dr. Rowe's personal philosophy. The only reason to do business is to buy time. So the gift of the entire month of our birthdays we've been giving to each other, and we pretty much will take off and go travel somewhere tropical in the world and spend time with each other so we can enjoy each other's time and company and spend time with our daughter now. Or, when our daughters, the two older ones, were younger, we spent time with them a lot too. So just the gift of time and love is what I want for my birthday until I am no longer here on this earth, physically present. That's my gift, the gift of time and family.
Okay, nice. So quality time is really important for you.
Absolutely.
Right. Do you know about the 5 Love Languages? Amazing book.
It is, yes, I do know about it. My actual love language, my primary, is physical touch, and my wife's is quality time. But my secondary is quality time, and her secondary is physical touch. So we love being in each other's company for a very long time. And actually, Fasana and I and my wife was just talking the other day. One of my wife's and I favorite things to do is to travel, but by taking road trips, so we can have a lot of that time to talk. We can talk for days. We've never ran out of a conversation. I remember one year we traveled from California to Georgia, and it was 5 days. So a 5-day conversation hadn't stopped. And since we started dating to now, we are still in a conversation that has not stopped, right? So nice. Quality time is huge for the both of us.
I like that. My top 2 are physical touch and quality time as well. So I'm looking forward to some nice connection time. Sure, it'll be very intimate when I see you in London in a few days.
I love it. So prepare for the hugs.
And Fasana, what do you get the lady who's got it all? What are you calling in for your birthday?
If I could have anything, I would definitely want every single human being to understand just the infinite amounts of potential that we all have, and understand that we can actually, co-create our realities and be the transformation that inspires other people to wake up and shift and create more abundance, more love, more, connection, more business, more travel. I mean, it boggles my mind, Luke, that 90% of the planet still lives in this hamster wheel of waking up every day, going to a job that they less than love, right? They're less than passionate about, and basically settles. It breaks my heart. So if I could have one wish for my birthday, that would definitely be it, just for everyone to stand in their power and live their best lives and live a life that they love.
Nice. When I finish my meditations, I always say a mantra, and it's may all beings feel free. It's my desire that all beings feel free to express themselves in any way that they want. So I totally am on board with that. You also reminded me, there's these American movies where they do like beauty pageants. And so it's like, if you had one wish, what would you wish for? And everyone always goes, world peace. If only, right? If only. Okay, next question. Let's go. This next one's a big one, and I'm just going to preface this before I read it out. So I love, one of the things I love about you, Dr. Obom, and Fasana as well, is this spiritual connection that you have, and that for me has been a huge part of my life since I had my awakening, is really connecting to the divine plan and understanding we're all a part of something much bigger than ourselves. And right. And this is what I think is one of the reasons why I'm so excited for us to bring this event together and show people that building wealth is more than just about money, right? It's about making an impact, and it's about making a difference, and it's about creating this change. So the question is, what is your take on the fifth dimension? When do you think we will transition completely? And what do we need to be doing now to ensure that we all transcend?
Yeah, look, she's ready for that one. We have this conversation so often.
Okay, so
and it's the space she loves to live in. So
thank you to whoever asked that question, because the answer to that question is actually the foundation as to why we decided to come together, create this partnership, and create the OB Mastermind. Believe it or not. Well, what is the fifth dimension, right? I mean, when you really understand that we are all spirits having a subjective, individual human experience, and that when you think about the fifth dimension as heaven and the third dimension as earth, I always love to remind myself and share with those who are willing to listen that it's so incredible, and this ties into what I was just saying, that we can actually create heaven on earth. We can create that based on gaining clarity about our heart's desires, about what we love to do, about our spiritual gifts, our passions, and incorporating that into the way that we operate as humans, as entrepreneurs, as wives, husbands, mothers, daughters, etc. Like, it's just bringing the fifth dimension down onto earth it involves all of humanity and our collective as a whole to really increase the levels of consciousness, so that 90% that I referred to earlier becomes smaller and smaller percentage, right? When you hear Dr. O's story of transformation based on the fact that he decided to change the way that he thinks so that he could change his reality, when you hear my story and you understand that we weren't born this way, I mean, we were, and at the same time, we had a lot of lessons to learn so that we could actually show up in this space and become the people that we are today. And yeah, bringing heaven down onto earth is the most beautiful subject and topic that any of us could discuss and just mastermind on, because it is possible for every single person, regardless of your circumstances right now. If you're surrounded with the right people and you have the right mentor who understands where you've been and who's actually done the same thing in their own journey, you guaranteed can up level in your life and create what you desire.
So Dr. O, what needs to happen, or what can people do to help create this shift inside themselves? What do you think is missing for a lot of people right now, or that they're not quite tapping into yet?
So, heaven is just like beauty, the eye of the beholder, right? And that transference, every one of us can have heaven here on earth for itself. So in the question of what can one do? So let's look at it in the state of where we are today, the thing that can make it most happen, most tangible, which is money. So money is the physical manifestation of energetic transference of what is possible. A shorter way to put that would be faith. So what is possible through faith is one's belief. So you use basically then your belief, you gave it life by speaking it, and then you take action to make it happen. So that energetic transference that occurs is part of the transformative process. You look at simply in the book of Luke, talking about, in the book of John, John 10:10 says, I am come to give you life so that you live it abundantly. That's, in a sense of some scholars would argue, that's basically bringing heaven on earth. But in order for that to happen, you have to be willing to do the work. You talk about the transformative process of making that happen. What one has to do is get real clear on what their purpose is, or what the fifth dimension is for them. How can they make that tangible? And the way to kind of really reverse that process, for me years ago, I understood that, well, this is for me, that money then was the physical manifestation of energy transferred from a belief or existence. And then you take that in the form of value, and you never get paid for what you do. You get paid for the value you bring to the marketplace. So it then becomes, what value am I bringing to the spiritual realm? What, depending on the individual's belief. Are you in the belief that the universe is reciprocitous, that what you give, it will give back? What you give tenfold, it will give 100-fold. So the energy or the value you give, it will reward you back. And over time, we created that into different value sets, from gold, silver, today it's money, right? In London, it's the sterling or the British, the pounds that you all have, and we have the US dollar. Different countries have different values. That's why maybe their money is stronger in value than others with different beliefs, right? So bringing the fifth dimension here requires some work, and it requires that how you are energetically linked or connected to the universe and what your belief system is.
That's such a great question. I just want to weigh in really quickly once again, because the fifth dimension is representative of love and abundance and universal laws, which are, God's truth for everything and everyone. And I just wanted to share with you, for those of you joining us in London on the 24th and 25th, that's actually a big part of the training that you'll be receiving around universal laws and how you can actually apply them in your life, in your relationships, and of course in your business.
And how I define love is not this feeling or emotion. Love is action. So everything is action to get to that fifth dimension, to get to that love. It is the action we take. And Luke, your wife's in love with you for the action you've been taking. And the actions you take give her a feeling. And typically we tend to think that the feeling we get is the outcome, but the love is the actions you actually take.
Nice. Amazing. Beautiful. And Dr. Obom, I was just drawn to your t-shirt there, your Canada t-shirt. And I know you're flying off to Canada soon, right? To go and do the OB.
We're flying out to Canada first thing in the morning to do the event there in Canada. And then we get back for a day and we're off to London. So maybe next week, somewhere in Canada, if they have a London t-shirt, I might buy a London t-shirt so that we can support it. But, as Fasana is here, I've been doing many videos with her in front of the American flag. So today she's making sure that I do something with Canada, right? That's the Canadian representative here.
It was just, I think what it prompted in me when I saw your Canada t-shirt is I remember you telling me about at one point being homeless, right? And having absolutely no financial wealth. And now I see you have created this life for yourself and for your family, where I know you were going to Canada, you were just in the Bahamas on doing a private jet mastermind. You were on a yacht a few weeks ago doing another mastermind in another glamorous country in Costa Rica, I think, wasn't it? And
it was Rica, yeah.
And I just want everybody to know who's watching this, you can create your own reality. And I love what you said. You have to decide what the fifth dimension is to you, because everybody's version of heaven is different. And I think that was really beautiful. My version, my fifth dimensional version, is one where there's no separation, where everyone is working collaboratively. We understand that we're all one at the deepest level. And when you help someone else, you help yourself, because you are the same. And that's kind of in alignment with what you both talked about, your fifth dimensions. But I really love that everyone can call in their own heaven. I think is super cool.
And what you just said, Luke, Fasana is probably, restraining herself. Those like her words verbatim. She was like, "Oh, I can hear it right now." She's going like, "I just want to hug him right now."
ties into how we all met, right? You know, obviously our audience members and viewers don't know the back story of how the three of us came together. And it literally took one phone call with this beautiful, beautiful soul, right, Mr. Luke Scott. And we just knew that this was going to be a successful relationship and partnership. And here we are. So when you know, you just know.
It was divine.
Yes. Love it. Okay, we have still 33 questions left to go, so we're not going to get through all the questions.
Let's just rapid fire through them, then.
I'm gonna cherry pick some. This one's an easy one, I think, to answer. Can you manifest $1 trillion into my bank account by the time you finish the interview, please?
There you go. It's already there. Now you have to do the work.
Okay.
To make sure it shows up.
It's in the energetic bank account, right? It's in the vortex.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you know what? Real quick, Luke. I was just sharing this with Fasana yesterday, actually. So the energy required to generate $1 million is the same. Let's call it 100%. And some of the mindset or philosophy that entrepreneurs hold today is they have to do that 100% of energy. So for example, maybe if it takes 100 hours of work a week, they believe that they have to do that 100 hours of work. It's still 100 hours of energy, but it doesn't mean it's only your energy. It's the finger and the fist method. The hand gets the $1 million, but it needs to work all the fingers to do it. Meaning that it's better to work as a team than alone. And for the person that asked that question for $1 trillion, it does require $1 trillion amount of energy. But if they're not willing to do the work, then they're going against the grain of the Bible, which we talked about, from the sweat of your brow. So that means not only just we manifest it, it's all good and speak it and give it life, but somebody has to go do the work for that.
Absolutely. I love it. Okay, next question. This is a 3-part question. So it says, firstly, what are your values with regards to marriage? And what is your why for choosing to live a prosperous life?
So let me answer it backwards. So my why or reason, I call it the WHY, what's hurting you, or what was hurting me 9 years ago to live a prosperous life. And that ties right into the answer of, my outlook on marriage was, I was married before with my first wife, who, when I came back from Iraq, was pregnant with someone else's kid. Obviously, that did not end well. One of the grounds for divorce in the Bible, biblically, and I got married first, doing the wrong things. For example, I got married for the wrong reasons. And one of them should not be for the benefit of a marriage, which is that actual physical act of sex. Already ruined that before that marriage happened. That's probably one reason why it didn't work. I got married because she was extremely gorgeous, and I was all in my eyesight and not the vision of where my relationship needed to be. And, for my wife now, we were friends for 3 years, dated for 3 years, got engaged for a year, and then got married. In that entire time, we never even kissed or had sex until the marital bed happened. When we were officially married, that's when we consummated the marriage. And it's no fault of our own that we've had a very happy marriage since then, because I followed the formula, I follow it. Now, for the successful part of it, when I was homeless and going through the struggles of not being obedient in the first relationship, that's one of the main reasons why I ended up homeless, living in a car and didn't have anything. My innate ability to just actually have food was my reason to be successful. I needed to make money to be able to buy food, to be able to eat it. Then it was moving from just ramen noodle soup to maybe actually having a good meal. Now, my liver and kidney was shutting down because all we were on was ramen noodle soup for a year. So much sodium in there started shutting down the vital organs in my body. I was in the hospital, I was sick. So my first immediate need was on Maslow's hierarchy, immediate need. It was survivability. Then I started making more money. It was to be able to live in a house. And from there, I made enough money. We bought our first home cash. Then it was, to be able to eat better food, then to travel, and then maybe travel first class, and then have a safe car. My wife's biggest concern was a safe car. So After buying the first brand new car, we never bought anything else other than that, right? Doesn't keep it for longer than 2 years. Every level went up. And then most importantly, it was, you know what, financial freedom. I don't want to have bill collectors calling me anymore, right? So it changed after a while. Then it was, we got to everything we wanted to do. And now my complete financial motivation and the reason why I'm doing it all is I don't want anyone to go through what I went through. So I provide the teachings, the trainings, and the guidance. And that's the main reason why the OB Mastermind came about, is to help educate the planet and eradicate poverty.
Nice. Amazing. Thank you. Great answers. And I love that you shared about your struggles too. I think that's really important. A lot of people, they just see this Instagram, social media success stories, right? And they don't hear the realness, rawness of your actual body shutting down because you're not taking care of it, right? And this is
exactly
something really important that I was talking to my friend about the other day. He said you can have all the wealth in the world, but if you're not healthy enough to enjoy it, then it's worthless, right? And
now, there is this. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Luke.
One of the things that you said to me is that wealth is so much more than just money.
Yep. Now, so what good does it serve you to make all this money, and then you get it, your health is failing, then you're spending the rest of your life spending your money trying to stay alive because you're unhealthy, right? And wealth for my wife and I, when we decided to go on this wealth journey, I remember one of the books we read, which I love reading books now that actually have answers to questions that I have, things that are unfulfilled in my life. So The Slight Edge gave us, it's really a book that really helps you to take simple disciplines and turn it into massive success in any area of your life. So I love that. We did it. First, we started with health, and I started getting better and better and better as the years went on with health. Recently, I just became vegan, so that, and it's funny, the vitality, the energy, the youthfulness, the playfulness, everything, it's completely changed. And not to add the almost 30 pounds that I released in the process too, was so much better than, eating meat and all that. But I was able to help in my faith. I increased it on a slightly daily basis over a year, reading in the word, understanding and developing it. Family, increasing more in my love and belief for my wife and doing the things that are tangible for both of us that we love. And in my finances, it was great. I got into the network marketing space initially, and that's where I had my first success. Learning to work with people, representing a product or service while the company's taking care of it, and the funds that I earned there gave me a chance slightly to really focus on what I wanted to do. So I took that whole concept holistically, and I even wrote a book about it called The 5 F's of Life: Faith, Family, Finance, Fitness, and Fun. That for me is wealth. When you're able to put a balance to it and still have fun in the process, that's wealth. It's not just the money. The money is just a byproduct of the lifestyle you want to live.
Beautiful. This is a great question then, just leading on from that. It says, what are your views on money, and why do you think we need so much in our human experience if we're really these sentient beings?
That's a great question. And sometimes in very sound spiritual individuals, and when I say sound, I'm not talking about sound practice. I'm talking about sound readers. The reading and doing of the word comes really from the lack of understanding the 4 processes of growth. So first there's the learned knowledge, which is when you read and you get it, then the activity knowledge, the model knowledge, and then the teaching knowledge. So the question that's relating to why is it so important? Well, it's the fulfillment of the scripture. What that I said earlier, John 10:10, I am come, which is the identification of Father. When Moses asked, who are you, or who should I tell Pharaoh sent me? I am. So it says, I am come to give you life so that you live it abundantly. Well, in order to live it abundantly, you need something to give you value to demonstrate that abundance. The thing tangibly today that demonstrates that abundance is money. So when you work for more money, then you can actually demonstrate your abundance. Everyone's abundance is different. So for me personally, it's not necessary, even though I have the money to have the great big houses and all the stuff, that I don't need the big house. I just need the place or the bedrooms that I can sleep in. But for me, that abundance is traveling and having fun. Now, you mentioned travel to my wife or I. We're on a plane, no problems asked, we're there. But that takes money. The longer we travel, the more of a class in that flight you want to have, instead of sitting down in coach with your feet together, especially traveling with our almost 2-year-old daughter now. Anywhere we travel with her, it's a first class ticket because she likes to run around and play. You can't have her run, well, you could have her run around and coach and folks are looking at you like, have a handle on your child, but in first class, no one cares. She has more space than anything else, right? So it's subjective to the person. However, there is a large population of the world that believes the more spiritual you are, the less you have to have. And that's a perversion of the truth. In fact, you were created not to be in poverty. The stronger you are in your faith and your walk, or the application of it, the more abundance you should be able to show for it, because you are in complete alignment or congruency. So the fact of those who are struggling, they have all this spiritual knowledge, they are incongruent because they're not practicing. They have the learned knowledge. They don't have the modeling knowledge, and it's learn knowledge, activity knowledge, model knowledge, then teaching knowledge. The reason why you see more millionaires and billionaires in teaching is because they're practicing from the learn into the model, then you can come teach. So the activity is the application of that process or that belief of the faith, whatever faith they are.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, educating people is a big passion of mine, and obviously that's one of the things that brings us all together. We've built ourselves up to a certain level where we want to share, because we see so many people suffering and asking us for help, right? And desperate to learn these things, because our school system, unfortunately, just doesn't equip us with basic skills. It doesn't teach us how to handle our emotions or our mental health, or how to do taxes, or how to buy properties, or anything like that is really practically useful. You know, those core skills, a lot of them are missing. There's never a wealth management class in my school anyway. How about in yours?
Never in mine. A friend of mine sent me this today, right? Send me this meme today, right? I thought it was pretty cute.
Yeah,
it says,
you'll have to read it.
I'm glad I learned about parallelograms in high school, math instead of how to do my taxes. It comes in so handy during parallelogram season.
Yeah, I just made a video about this today. I was in a school in London, and there's different education systems. Like in Finland, for example, they have this incredible education system where it's more based around, children don't even start learning English and maths until they're 7 years old. They get to actually play and be critical thinkers and like socialize and learn how to interact with each other. Whereas in the UK, at 5 years old, we start giving kids tests. And one of my friends is a teacher in a school, and she had a 5-year-old kid crying because they were scared they were going to fail a test. 5 years old. And that is insane.
Imagine that. So what that child is crying for is because her brain already understands fear, and she's afraid to fail. When we should embrace fear, we should embrace the failure. Fear is, it's all here. So, that's one of the reasons actually my wife and I decided, if our daughter now goes to school, she will only go to college. We're going to homeschool her. She's going to be schooled. And if you want to learn world history, we will travel the world. I will show you everything so that you understand it firsthand. And the things that she already knows in Fasana, she's so advanced for her age already. She's only 20 months old. But the things that she knows, conceptually understands, and does is that of a 3-4-year-old. And I've seen this with my own children. My son, who's now 28, our daughters who are 20 and 18. And they're both doing exceptionally well, because earlier on, I taught them the same principles and philosophies that's helped me excel outside of the structure. And now I'm not knocking education, because I do hold several degrees, right? I have an MBA, obviously a master's in business. I have several different bachelors in general studies and all kinds of things I was interested in. But I do have a doctorate in traditional Western medicine. and a PhD in human behavior and a PhD in psychology and a doctorate in divinity. Like, all of those never really paid the bills. What I did was took the amalgamation of all that information into how I naturally felt and spiritually felt equipped to do what I was put here to do. And that has to do with what I believe I was put here to do. And then through all that extensive education, it helped my brain to be able to process things differently. So my gift is taking the complicated and making it simple. And what I wanted to make simple for others, it's the process by which you can become wealthy. And then I took all that and created the curriculum for, the OB Mastermind. What we're doing now is I'm simplifying. And Fasana, we were just talking, and I think we mentioned it the other day, but her goal, one of her goals, 10-year goal, was to, do what we did the other day, play around in some Rolls Royces, fly on private jets, have a great time. And within the 4 months of working together, we compressed that time frame and make it happen. It didn't happen with traditional education. It happened with what was open from the universe that you believe you can do and took the action appropriately to make it happen, right? So that's not taught anywhere, and you're 100% right on that. And it aggravates me to see so many people believe that that's the path. No, it's a path, but it's not the path.
Yeah, nice. Okay, we're going to go for about 10 more minutes. So we're going to blast through some questions. And I can see there's 3 or 4 different questions that are along similar lines. So someone says, are you interested in investing in businesses that promote spiritual well-being and awareness? Somebody else says, would you be interested in donating £25,000 to set up a charity to support women who have been abused by their partners? And somebody else is asking if you would like to invest in their business. They want to run a retreat business that helps shift people's consciousness out of a boat. So they're looking to buy a boat and then take people out on a boat. So I guess you must be asked to invest in businesses all the time. So how do you decide what to invest in and what not to?
So those are great questions. And you won't believe how often I get asked to invest in millions of ideas. And I hear everyone out. Now, let me go backwards to the last few questions. To the person that's asking about the boat opportunities and doing retreats, and the person that was asking about investing in women, which are both of them are very heart-connected subjects for me. I would say to them or to you, get to our event this weekend. And the first thing you need to understand is the mindset to get what it is that you're doing. So for example, the person who wins the lottery, 99% of the time, those who win the lottery, they go back to being broke within 36 months. These are statistical facts. Why? Because they were not mentally equipped to handle that money. They weren't good stewards of it. They didn't have the training. They didn't have the understanding. And most people believe that you get this, X amount of money, this is what you can do, and it's almost limitless. Some of the things I realized as I got to earning more money, I became more frugal, which is crazy. Well, it's not crazy. It's an opposite of how those who don't have think it should be, and those who've gotten it know how it should be done, right? So I'm very interested in always open and investing in the right opportunities. And it has to be 3 things for me when I invest. It has to be an ROI, whatever the reason or purpose is. It doesn't always have to be an ROI for me. I've done total 3 different investments. It has nothing to do with me at all, that I didn't want anything for. It was just basically helping and gifting to someone else, because I knew, which led into the second thing, is that they were able and capable. They had the knowledge and they can sustain it. It was just it's just being able to say, like, if someone say, what, Obama, I see what you're doing. I want to invest $1 million in what you're doing, whether I get it back or not, or if they want it, they can trust me and that I have the ability to go produce something more. So 3 times I've done that with individuals. I know that I can do something. And it's crazy what you mentioned earlier with like Wayne Dyer. These same individuals, 2 out of the 3 had already come back. They've introduced me to several people who have helped me done, millions of dollars in business over the years, because I did something good. Is the reciprocity act for them. But the third and most important part is competence. believing in that person that they're mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically competent to do what's important to maintain whatever it is they're asking for. So for example, let's say the person who's asking for the boat. They've never read it was a great idea. They don't know what it takes to run the boat. Sounds great, but if they've never captained the boat, then they have to go now and have a captain's license. They have to have a coxswain's license. That they need to learn how to drive the boat. They also need a crew for the boat, right? These are all things that's going to happen. So they don't just need the boat. They need a business and a way to maintain the actual upkeep of the boat itself. What happens when that boat sits there in the water, right? All these things. So if they're not capable and equipped and wired for it, then they cannot maintain it. So it's very nice for people to have these amazing ideas, but if there is no follow through, then those are some of the ways and reasons I don't even invest. So great ideas are good. And I don't invest in ideas. I invest in the ideas that have follow through to keep it and maintain it and scale it to the level it needs to be.
Yeah, absolutely. So everyone who's interested in speaking with Dr. Obom, we actually have this event coming up. And so we are doing something very, very interesting. If you comment below, just say, I'd love to know more, or I would love to get a ticket, or I am ready to break through. It's called the Outcomes and Breakthroughs Mastermind. I'll send you all of the details, 24th and 25th of January. We have something really, really special. So do click it. And there's also an opportunity for you to have a lunch and a dinner with Dr. Obom and ask him these questions personally. And I guess if you want to pitch him, you can pitch him, right? You must get pitched a million times. I do too. I must have been pitched for every network marketing opportunity in the world, right? It's constant, because people just see in us those entrepreneurial traits, and they would love to obviously have us on their team. And it is about being selective with where we spend our energy, right? Because we have this 100 units of energy to spend. Where are we going to invest our time and our energy, right? Great.
Exactly.
2 more questions we're going to go for, and then we will wrap up, and I'll let you get off to Canada to go change more lives.
Canada will be excited.
This is a really great question. Someone's saying, I'm struggling with the law of attraction, and I'm getting a bit frustrated. I've really studied it. I understand how it works, but I still watch myself creating what I don't want instead of what I want. What would your advice be for that person?
So that's a beautiful part. And what I would say first is the word attraction. The second half of it spells action. So they must be action taken to attract. So you also have to understand that whatever you are seeking is seeking you. Whatever you are resisting is resisting you. What you resist persists. So for example, push. This is you in the universe. If you're focused on what you don't want, you will get more of what you don't want. If Fasana wants me to stop pushing, she can tell me all day, stop pushing. But what she has to do is stop pushing. And then the energy will transfer and it'll go through. Another way to really understand and look at this, when I say whatever you're seeking is seeking you, it's very, very important to understand that when we're talking about the law of attraction, the part that most people don't understand is the actual action that they need to take. You should not believe that it is just for you to sit, meditate, think about, attract, put the energy out there, and that it'll come to you. When you do those things, the energy does go out there. But for example, let's use it on a physical scale for relationships, right? My wife and I owned a relationship company, and I had a young lady that was, when I say young lady, she was 53 years old. She was seeking a mate, and she was earning great income, basically a multiple 6-figure income. But I took a look at her situation, and the very simple things that you're seeking, some people are actually not fully preparing for it. So for example, at her home, she would drive into her garage. It was a 2-car garage. She just drove in any old way. If she parked sideways, that is blocking the energy, in a sense, for a second car to be there. She slept any old way in her bed across from where she wanted to. Right? So just 3 things I asked her to change. And that was, now when you're eating, start just You don't have to put the food out. Just have an empty plate and cup, or set another set at the table, so that your energy gets used to having the energy of someone else there. One, when you sleep, choose your favorite side of the bed, so you're preparing that space inside for the person to be there. And third, when you park your car in the garage, choose the side you want your car to be on, so you're preparing for this man. There's also another analogy of the two farmers that are praying, which is in another sense the law of attraction. They're praying for God to let it rain, because it's a drought in their area. Now one goes out and till the fields and prepare it and puts the seed down, waiting for the rain, while the other is there praying and manifesting and hoping and attracting the rain. The rain finally comes, and one of the farmers are happy and the other is very upset. The moral of the story is, whatever you attract, whatever you're seeking is seeking you, but you have to be prepared for the delivery of the season of abundance.
I love that. That is awesome. Really good example as well. And I know because our friend Charlie Xavier put us in touch, and he was so excited. He's like, Luke, you got to check out this Dr. Obom guy. He's like transformed my business and like he's totally flipped things around. And I know you're going to get along super well. And this is one of the things I really like about your teaching style is yes, there's a lot of spiritual elements to it, but it's also very practical, because this is just exactly what I do. I used to be so scientific, pure physics, left-brained. I didn't believe in God or energy or angels or anything. Thought it was all nonsense.
Right.
And then I had this huge breakthrough, and then I really was like, wow, there's something bigger than me that maybe like, and I started experiencing my connection to God, source, the divine, the universe, whatever you want to call it. And then I knew then it was real. And now I sit in this beautiful place where I combine science and spirituality and actually realize that they are pretty much one and the same thing, but science is just kind of catching up, and we don't maybe have the instruments that are fine-tuned enough yet to measure a lot of these things. So we have to go on belief.
The twin and forks aren't fully sound, right?
Yeah.
And I'll give you something I discovered probably about 16 years ago with the word impossible. So in my belief system, obviously, of the I am, that's as a Christian, that says I am is the way. And whenever we use that word I am or I'm, we're taking on the identity of God, right? So the word impossible, if you break it down, it means I'm possible. I am is possible. Anything is possible. And science, because it's the highest level of understanding. When science cannot explain anything, it says it's impossible. So in other words, when science cannot explain the divine, it says it's impossible. But what is possible is faith. Faith is the belief of the substance of all things not yet seen. So you don't have to see it. And if science cannot explain it, then it says it's impossible. But it is possible. When you have the faith and you understand universally how things really work, then you understand that impossible is just a moment of time away with belief and action when it's applied properly.
Yeah, and science is really catching up now. And you know, a lot of the science has actually been around for years, and it was just buried. It's not out in the mainstream. Now it's all coming out. You can see so many great things. That's a whole different webinar. I want to end with one last thing. So people are asking. There's two parts to it as well. They're asking, what are your favorite resources? I guess they mean like books. Like what books or resources have made a big change in your life? Could be a courses or something. Like what was created a big shift for you? And this can be for both of you.
Yeah. So that's a great question, actually. In the beginning phases of my journey, you know, my awakening process, whatever we want to call it here, I ended up reading a lot of books. Naturally, we're all seekers, so I'm a very passionate seeker, and I would read and study on the internet about astrology and numerology and universal laws since about the age of 15. So I often read articles on the internet. I read a lot of books. Then I realized that courses and experiential learning were the better route for me because it actually put me in the space to take action right away and apply what I was learning. Then designations for certain modalities became my preferred way of learning, today, my biggest resource would probably, well, is the gentleman sitting beside me, my mentor, because, you know, when you have the opportunity to really work with someone who is as passionate as we both are when it comes to helping other people facilitate their own transformation, right, in their lives, it's the biggest blessing and resource that we could have. There's so much knowledge, as we've been discussing on this call, that's available to each and every one of us. We live in the age of information, and sometimes it can get often overwhelming. Sometimes it can be a little bit much, right? And it gets a little bit gray or foggy. But when you're working with another person who has been where you are, who has the resources, the leverage, the connections, the access to really help you gain clarity in taking those next steps for yourself, this is what I would recommend to each and every person, because I've learned many times that when Dr. O gives me a task or gives me a plan of action to experience a breakthrough or have an epiphany that's necessary for me, and I do it right away, magic happens. The manifestations pour in, right? We were just talking about manifestation. There's a formula for it, right? And I'm so looking forward to sharing this with everyone who joins us next weekend. So.
Yeah, so good. I'm just listening to a book at the moment called The Autobiography of a Yogi. Have you read that? You read that book? It's fantastic. And it's all about
powerful information.
Yeah, it's all about how humans are capable of so much more. And in India, they're very been connected spiritually for a long time, and it's part of their heritage. And he really recommends in the book, get a guru. Right? Find someone who's done what you want to do and ask them how. Find someone who's enlightened and ask them to show you the way. Now, they're going to be able to guide you, they give you signposts, right? And because of their level of connection, they can tune into your field and give you some really great tips and save you years or lifetimes, right, of efforts. So yeah, I'm big on that too. Dr. O, top resource. What's really made a big impact in your life?
Well, you know, I over the course of almost 30 years, I've spent decades and millions of dollars on my education in itself and different things. One of the talking about three big impacts, and then the most important one to me, one of the biggest impacts and source was the military. The military is the most immersive place that you can get into for learning. And I joined the military when I was 17 years old and spent 20 years there. But I've also had, while I was there, what they call MOSs, or military occupational specialties, which are just jobs, but had made 30 different jobs over that time period. My core job or position has always been infantry, but there's been different jobs inside of that specificity. Like, for example, my very first primary one in the infantry field was being what's called a demolitions expert. So we went to school for demolitions, learned everything in demolitions, calc and placements, which is like the highest level of mathematics, right? To be able to calculate what it takes to, if you want to cut a steel door somewhere, what that math has to be, or what's the best method to use, or what's the best explosive device, whether it's TNT, Patton, or C4. Right, or the top 3 military grade to use. And then, you fast forward it all the way through small arms, weapons instruction, through mechanics, dynamics of entry, you name it, I've done it on the infantry field and have all those MOSs. My point is this: with every MOS or every occupational specialty, the military had a school for it. And it was a minimum of at least 30 days of immersion. And even when it was 30 days, it was basically 9 months worth of work, but they compiled it in the 30 days, and you're there 8 hours a day. That's all you do. You eat, breathe, and sleep that material, so you become it, right? Then there was, when I got into the field of personal development, just reading books and everything else, and then business. But the most important out of all of them, and I realized all information came from this one book, the Bible, right? Which I call the Basic Instructions Before Leaving Earth. I love acronyms. But the one Bible has 66 books and like 178 main stories that deal with every area of life. And they were spoken in the vernacular of tongue or the vernacular of speech back then, and to get it translated, you know, from the original Aramaic into Hebrew, and lots of things got lost in translation. For me, the reason I realized in the last 9 years how I've shortcutted the process in a sense, not shortcut, but I went directly to the end result, which is where I'm at. The fastest way to any point is a straight line. Don't worry, go around. So what I did was I started studying. I even have an Aramaic Bible in my studies right now, but I studied the original text, the Hebrew text, the Aramaic text, all the different translations to see what has been lost in translation. And then where it is in English today, that was the most important for me. That's the most impactful. That's what's really changed everything for me. That's the one source. But I went to the original context and translated to really get what was missing. And here's the biggest part I was missing from every one of them: the emotional languaging, the emotions. So the connection to universe, the connection to source. Now, here's something that's going to trip a lot of people up. English is the only language in the world that is written, spoken, and directed without emotion. There is a word for every feeling and emotion. Every other language is emotional. English is the only explanatory language. There's no emotion in it.
Dr. O, you get 2 thumbs up from me for that recommendation. That is incredible, because this is one of the things I'm actually learning Arabic at the moment, because when I read these books, I read like the Bible or the Quran, and I read other people's translations, it totally misses the mark for me. And so I'm learning Arabic because I want to be able to read the Quran in its original form, so I can make my own translations. And yeah, absolutely, the Bible is insane, because you can go online and you can see the original translations, and it is so different. And absolutely, I'm so glad you said that. Just one quick one: in Arabic, the word fear is used a lot in the Quran. So it says you should be afraid of God, you should be fearful of God. But the word fear in Arabic is also the exact same as the word consciousness. So you can also say that exact same sentence as you should be conscious of God. So in everything that you do, you should be aware of God. Like bring that God consciousness into your actions instead of, and it's a totally different meaning. One word just flipped around. So I think that is a brilliant recommendation. And I just love to end with this. A lot of people asking the same things. They're saying, what is the biggest lesson, or what are the biggest lessons that you have learned on your journey? I'd love for you just to share what really stands out for you right now. I'm sure there's a million, but if you just to break it down into the absolute top ones for you that you'd love to share with everyone, and then we'll give them one more explanation of how they can join us for the event on the 24th and 25th.
Absolutely.
In London.
So for me, the biggest is trust, forgiveness, and responsibility. Learn to trust more, forgive more, and take responsibility for all of your actions. Even if you're right and others are wrong, take responsibility.
Nice, succinct, powerful, true. And responsibility is really an interesting word, isn't it? It's your ability to respond. And when you give your power away, you have no ability to respond. You are powerless. And so I love to flip that around as well. Beautiful.
Make responsible to something.
Yeah, nice. Fasana, what are your top lessons that you have come to embody in this lifetime so far?
Top lessons would be love, would be faith, and would be surrender. We talked a little bit about the fifth dimension, and again, when we as individuals learn how to embody concepts like love, right? Dr. O touched on it earlier. Love is in action. So when we are able to respect other people the way we choose to be respected ourselves, and when we choose to express love in our actions, right, towards every living and non-living creature, for me, that's really done wonders, because it's helped me avoid judging other people. It's helped me understand where others are on their unique subjective journey. And it's helped me avoid comparison, right, between them and where they are and myself and where I am. And it really helps me put myself into other people's shoes. Faith is something that I've learned along the years. I'm still continuously learning. And, as an entrepreneur, as a conscious entrepreneur, walking in faith and living outside of the comfort zone, it's uncomfortable a lot of the times, which is where the growth happens. So living and walking and breathing in faith is something that ties into trust, ties into surrounding yourself with the right people, ties into, believing in yourself and understanding that God is in fact within us. And finally surrender, because a lot of my plans and my vision didn't necessarily manifest the way that I thought that it would. And at the same time, I'm a firm believer in the fact that God's plan for us is bigger than the plans that we have for ourselves. So continuously understanding when I need to surrender, or I have the opportunity rather to choose to surrender my ego and my pride and my old paradigms that no longer serve me for where I am in my journey. Those three things are definitely huge, huge golden nuggets that the faster I'm able to teach other people, the faster I'm sure they'll be able to transcend, as we say, into their next level of success.
I'm going to give her a pound of that. There we go.
I love that. There's an amazing book called The Tao Te Ching, written by Lao Tzu, and in the Tao Te Ching, it talks about how the greatest masters are always students, and they always realize that everyone has something to teach them. And whether it's a beggar on the street or a billionaire, they have everyone is here to teach us and to help us become more of who we truly are, right? And connect us back to our ultimate selves, which is ultimately God. You talked about God's within us, and I'm really on board with that. So
my greatest teacher the last 18 months has been my 20-month-old daughter.
Yeah.
Daily, on a daily basis, I'm learning so much from this child. Great point.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone who gave your questions in, thank you so much. This has been a very enriching and fun conversation. I like this kind of style. Everyone whose questions we didn't manage to get through, I will endeavor to post something for you on the questions where you asked. If you didn't get your question answered and you would like to know more, or if you're just vibing with us and you'd like to come hang out 24th and 25th of January in London, 2-day events, Outcomes Breakthroughs Mastermind, with all of us, and we're flying in some of our other incredible spiritual entrepreneurial friends too. It's going to be really deep dive transformational stuff. If you're interested, comment below, send me a message, just say I'd love to get a ticket, I'm ready to break through, and we'll send you how it works. Now, I had a call with Dr. O and Fasana the other day, and we were talking, and we're actually doing something really interesting. So for a few people, we are going to invite you as our guests to this OB Mastermind, but you need to do something. I need you to message me or comment below and tell me why you think you should come as our guest to the OB Mastermind. I will then choose the people who I feel a resonance to, and I will gift you personally a ticket to come and join us on the 24th and 25th in January, which is pretty good because usually your trainings are thousands and thousands of dollars, right?
This training is one of our 15K 2-day trainings. So we're giving it for nothing in a sense. And for those who ask about, giving back, this is why this entire year, this course, we're expanding, throughout the world. When you look at it, multiply the rooms, we're stopping at 100 per room, but times 15,000. That's what we're giving back in every city that we're going to. So the cost of it for those who are worried about it, the cost of the event is really to pay the venue, right? Business does take operating costs. So I'm excited about this. And Luke, 2 things. One, thank you so much for having us here and being part of, yes. So no, we have to. There's that beating heart. So, thank you for having us on and connecting, with you. I can't wait to see your newborn baby. I can't wait to spend some time with you, my friend. But most importantly, thanks for your heart in, the ability to want to be able to gift to others as well. So I appreciate your spirit. Those of you who are watching, I'm glad that you've watched this far and entertained with us. But reach out to Luke. Tag me on this. If any of you have any direct questions, providing at the time I have, I'll be happy to answer them. But come spend some time with us over the course of the 2 days, the 24th and the 25th here in London. I won't be wearing a Canada shirt, promise you that. But come spend some time with us.
Yeah, and for everyone who's not in London, if you're in America, if you're in Canada, if you're in the Bahamas, if you're in Costa Rica, like, we're coming for you, right? So check out the website, the obmastermind.com. Is that right?
The obmastermind.com. Click on events and you'll see we're coming next.
Coming to a town, city near you soon, especially if it's got a nice beach.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. I cannot wait to see you in just a few days now. We're getting so close, right? And seeing all these beautiful souls that we attract to come and play with us. And yeah, I really believe that together we all rise. Like, when we come together, the fingers and the fist, you said it, right? The fingers and the fist. When we all come together, we are powerful and we can create stuff way beyond our imagination. So that's great.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, my friend.
Lots of love to you both, and I will see you very soon.